So I'm curious, how many of you could identify a planet in the sky if you went outside? Well, this is a great time to see planets. We do have planets moving back into the evening sky after a couple months without any, and there's a lot to see in the morning sky. So we'll start with the evening, and if you look to the west right after sunset, or even a little bit before sunset, you can see Venus. Venus is so bright that it's visible in daylight, and I've been looking, and usually about 10 minutes before sunset, it's not very hard to see. Just look above the sun and about, a couple fists up, and there it is. Anyway, after sunset, you can't miss it because it's the brightest thing in the sky after the moon. And on the 17th, the moon will appear to the left of Venus. And also the Pleiades star cluster, the Seven Sisters, will be above Venus, and over the next few nights will get close. It'll kind of move down towards Venus night by night. So use binoculars and take a look at that. Jupiter it will be in the evening sky. Well, it is in the evening sky, I should say, fairly late right now. It's around 10 o'clock or so, and you can see it. But by the end of the month, it'll be rising just after sunset, and the full moon will be above Jupiter towards the end of the month on the 29th. So you can see those together. Jupiter. Oh, there we go. If you weren't sure which one was Jupiter. Jupiter is highest in the sky around between 3 and 1 in the morning this month. And here's a recent picture of it taken by an amateur astronomer in Japan. And you can see the moon Ganymede poking out. So looking at Jupiter with a telescope is quite exciting. You can actually see a lot of this detail. And in fact, here is a sketch made about the very same time by an amateur several hundred miles away in Japan, and you can see a lot of the same cloud details and stuff. Now, photographs, you can enhance the color and contrast and make stuff stand out, but you actually, if you look at Jupiter a lot with a telescope or any planet, and even have some discipline in sketching it, you actually can start to see more and more detail. Now, scientists aren't so thrilled with that because you can also imagine things and it's easy to make a lot of mistakes. But if you're just interested in yourself and what you can see on the planet, you really can be quite skilled at spotting the details. This is one of the greatest astrophotographers right now, amateur photographers, is Damien Peach in England. And he's able to use a 1-meter telescope in Chile. So he operates it from his home in England, but over the internet he can take pictures. And here's a recent one he got of Jupiter. And here you see the moon Io or Io in front of, I guess it's Io, is the proper pronunciation.
How many Io? Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Actually, since I always say EO, IO is the correct pronunciation. I've learned I'm wrong on that one.
Wait.
All right. So anyway, what's exciting here is if you look very carefully, you can see a little bit of detail on EO. And I remember back in 1979, when I was working here, back then too, Voyager was getting pictures like this as it was approaching Jupiter, and it was kind of the first time we saw that really intricate cloud detail and markings on the moons distinctly. So now you can do it. This is, well, with a 1-meter telescope helps. Okay. All right, in the morning sky, you can see off to the southeast the planets Saturn and Mars. Jupiter, just before sunrise, is off in the southwest sky, but down in the southeast, and actually just before dawn, right on the meridian, straight south, you can see Saturn and Mars. The moon will help you find these on April 7th. So if you get up, what's today? The 6th, yeah. So if you get up tomorrow morning and make all the clouds go away, this is what you would see. So Saturn and Mars are close together right now. Over the months, Mars will skip off to the left farther, and so those planets will look farther from each other. But you can pick out Saturn. It has kind of a yellow golden hue. Mars has a much more deeper, almost bordering on orange hue to it. Okay. Here's another amateur view of Saturn. Now this is oriented with north on the bottom because that's how astronomers traditionally picture the planets. Of course, now that we think of planets as worlds like the Earth, that tradition has slipped somewhat. So when we go to the next picture here, when Damian Peach photographed it, you can't argue with him, with the 1 meter telescope in Chile. He got this just a couple days ago. And what's exciting here is there's a white spot you can see near the top of Saturn. That's a new storm. That's an outbreak. And what else is neat, of course, that we don't have Cassini anymore giving us live or near live pictures of Saturn, but we can see some of the things that it made us aware of, like the hexagon and the pole of Saturn and these many divisions of the rings and other neat detail. So you can monitor what's going on in Saturn from Earth. Mars is also pretty far away still. It's more than twice as far away as it will be at the end of July, but it is getting close enough that details are beginning to be visible. And again, Damian Peach, and I believe this is with his backyard telescope, not the 1 meter. Oh no, it says Chilescope, so this is the 1 meter telescope. Is getting detail. You can see clouds. Now this is the North Pole of Mars, so this has the traditional way with north down. But you can see the clouds here, also wispy clouds here. The dark regions are just regions where rocks have been scoured clean by winds, and then the kind of butterscotch-colored deserts there. The moon will be full towards the end of the month, which is good for another event that's happening. So the night of the 20th, which is a Friday night, which is also convenient usually, there's a meteor shower, and that's the Lyrid meteor shower.
You mean the Lyrids?
Are you calling me a liar?
I'm an Io, but you're an EO, right?
Yeah, but it's named for a liar. I mean, oh, sorry. No, lyra, the lyre, is a harp in ancient Greek. In fact, it's supposed to be Orpheus's harp, and Apollo put it in the sky after Orpheus died, very sadly. And here it is. And there's 3 bright stars, what we call the summer triangle. There's Vega, Deneb, and Altair.
Vega.
All right.
Anything about the Tesla that got launched into space?
Well, yeah, right now it's about 11 million miles away from Earth. And if we could see it in the sky, it would be almost in the same direction that Mars is in the sky in the morning. So it's moving out away. There's a neat website called heavensabove.com, and they have a new feature on it that, it's hyphenated, by the way. But if you go to that website, they have a Tesla viewer. And you go on that, and it actually shows, it kind of goes out from the Earth and then shows its entire path to where it is right at the moment you're watching. And it's really neat. So anyway, but you can't see it from Earth. It's beyond, I don't think anybody's tracking it with telescopes anymore. Anyway, meteor shower. The night of the 20th, the morning of the 21st, the moon sets at 1:34 a.m. and you can watch for about 3 hours until dawn begins. By then, the meteor shower is coming from straight overhead, and it produces usually about 18 per hour. Every once in a while, though, we get surprised. And in the 1980s, it was producing 90 per hour. The comet that makes it takes 450 years or so to go around the sun. It's called the Comet Thatcher. And apparently, all the activity we see is from much more ancient visits near the Earth. So we don't know where all the stuff is distributed. The comet's only been seen once, so we don't know a lot about how it's distributed dust along its orbit. So just go out and watch.